What is going on, Colts Nation? Welcome back to another episode of Bring the Juice. Guys, wanted to talk about the injury situation right now with the Indianapolis Colts, in particular, too, about the situation between Kenny Moore and Mike Hilton and a couple other people as well. But before we do that, just want to say this episode is sponsored by FanDuel, the best sportsbook site out there. Guys, the Colts have been putting up a lot of great numbers, and they've been putting up some very interesting bet opportunities. So if you guys took that same the 4-bet parlay that they had going on before the game started, you made some decent money if you put a couple bucks in on that. So make sure to check those out, guys. A lot of great things. They have not only spreads and money lines, they have passing yard, rushing yard, receiving yard spreads, and a whole bunch of other things. So be sure to check out FanDuel today. But want to talk about, guys, in particular right now, we saw what happened with Alec Pierce. He is in concussion protocol. Still too early to determine if he will be playing in this next week. Likelihood is he isn't, but we'll see what happens in retrospect to that. But the big one that everyone wanted to know after the game on Sunday was about Kenny Moore, because he went down with what was a calf injury and nobody knew the severity of it. He obviously did not come back into the game, so obviously it was bad enough to do that. Cody, I think it was fair to say that we all thought that he was probably going to miss some time. The ultimate question was how much time? That was the major concern here. And we got our answer today. Ian Rappaport was the first to point it out, said Colts Pro Bowl defensive back Kenny Moore II suffered a calf injury in Sunday's win, and he's expected to miss a couple of weeks, sources say. Not a major injury, they said. And for depth, the team is signing veteran cornerback Mike Hilton, which obviously Cody had already posted about going into that situation. So when we heard the news that Mike Hilton was getting signed, that news came about 30 minutes prior to finding out that the status of Kenny Moore. But everyone took that and were like, okay, so that means Kenny's going to miss some time. Ultimately, how much? And hearing it's just a couple weeks. Now, I mean, Cody, that's a very generalized term. A couple weeks can be anything from 2 weeks to possibly even up to 5 weeks. Now, I will say, Colts media talked with Steichen today, and they said they are not thinking of putting Kenny Moore on IR. So that means that that's good, that likely he won't miss a month. He could miss a month if things don't progress as they normally think, but there is hope that he would be ready prior to that. So even if he does have to miss a month, they're not going to put him there and make him have to miss 4 games just because. So all in all, Cody, I mean, it's the best of a bad scenario right now. I mean, sure, he's going to miss a little bit of time, but you brought in cornerback help to help with that situation, and thank goodness that he's only missing a couple weeks and not missing the entirety of the season.
Yeah, you're right. You definitely avoided a major injury, which is great news. And obviously for the Colts, with signing Mike Hilton, Derek, it's good because you feel like, okay, we have a guy who is familiar with Lou Anarumo's scheme, who has thrived in Lou Anarumo's scheme in the past. And so you feel like, okay, like obviously Kenny Moore's one of the best slot corners in football, but Mike Hilton, you feel like can at least be serviceable in that department, which is a step up from what you've had, right? So yeah, and the good thing is, Derek, I think this could be a situation where when Kenny Moore comes back, in a couple weeks, Mike Hilton can still be on the roster and can still play around, and you definitely need him. You need more corner depth, especially you just need some guys that can play at a decent level, because your cornerback depth has been tested like crazy this year.
Yes,
and to have a guy that can play some backup slot, and also Mike Hilton played a little bit of safety at his time in Cincinnati under Lou Anarumo as well. So a very versatile player that you bring into this group that you think can really help you out. I think that's great news. So, hopefully around that time, Derek, when Kenny Moore comes back. Hopefully Jalen Jones is starting to get close as well, and then you can get back to as full health as you can with that unit. That would definitely be great there. But yeah, certainly some great news there from the Kenny Moore front that Steichen basically said IR is not even a consideration right now, which is great news. I mean, the fact they're not even considering it tells me it's likely to be closer to the 2-week than the 4 or 5 week, which is great. So that's the hope there. And obviously with that type of injury, you just want to be cautious with it. No need to rush Kenny Moore back here. But yeah, definitely, like you said, not a great situation there because we know how valuable Kenny Moore is to this defense. But like you said, the best of a bad situation, the best of the kind of the cards you've been dealt with this injury. And I tell you what, man, I don't think there's been any group on this team that's been hit harder than this cornerback room. It's insane, actually, how bad it's been for this cornerback room. And I know you kind of talked about it a little bit. We were talking off air. It's not like Chris Ballard didn't address it. I mean, he addressed it multiple times. In fact, he addressed it in the draft, and people were like, huh? You drafted a kid, in round 3? You drafted another corner? So it's just been an unfortunate rash of injuries that have happened to force you to have to go outside your own guys and go bring in guys like Xavier Howard, go bring in Mike Hilton, because it's just been that bad with the injuries. So you're hopeful that here in a couple weeks you can start getting back some of these guys. That would obviously be huge for your defense if you can get back some of these players, because right now this depth is being very tested. But certainly from a Lou Anarumo standpoint, Derek, it definitely probably makes him sleep better at night knowing that he has a player in Mike Hilton who he knows so well that he can trust there in that slot corner position. So, yeah, it's probably not going to be Kenny Moore level, but you're hopeful that it can at least be solid here in the couple weeks that Kenny Moore is going to miss for you. So, yeah, like you said, best of a bad situation. You'll take it. I think if there's any slot corner you take right now in the market, it's probably Mike Hilton. So We'll take it right now.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, again, it was super important. And like I said, I mean, we were talking about it off air too. I mentioned it to you. It was like the amount of guys, especially after this week, that are having season-ending injuries right now. I mean, it's very fortunate that Kenny Moore did not have that sort of injury. And you start talking about a calf and you get any closer, you're dealing with Achilles, and that's certainly not something that we want to be dealing with right now. And my personal opinion, Cody, if he needs an extra week, please keep him out. In all honesty, please. I don't want him to come back in 2 weeks if he's not ready. If he needs to come back in 3 weeks, if he needs to come back in 4 weeks, I don't care. But keep him back. Seriously, we don't need to have a lingering calf injury on one of our better corners. So Make sure you're being careful with him. Let him get that rest, work on that. But yeah, it's super awesome to know that he is not going to miss significant time, and he will be back at some point in this season and to continue to help with this team. And, again, we want all things to keep rolling right now, Cody. You're 3-0. You want to be feeling good. And, this team just continues to get tested with the injury bug right now. But thank God it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, right. No doubt about that. And, even with the, Alec Pierce situation really quick, obviously it sucks. And if he has to miss a week or 2, because concussions are also something you don't mess around with.
Yep.
You feel like, okay, we have a player that can step up in his absence in Adonai Mitchell and can potentially, with more snaps, prove what he's worth. I mean, Derek, I don't know if you saw or not, but, Adonai Mitchell hasn't gotten a ton of snaps through the first 3 weeks. But when he actually has been on the field, they have targeted him quite a bit here in the first 3 weeks. So you think, okay, that role's a little bit more extended here, at least for this week. His role, he's going to probably have some more catches in this game, and he's going to get more opportunities to prove that last year was a fluke and that he is a huge part of this offense moving forward. And I think that's the great thing about having the depth you do at wide receiver, because even behind him, you have a guy like Ashton Doolin who you can trust when and if injuries do happen, right? So that's, I think, why we're so bullish on this wide receiver room. Obviously, you can't replace a player like Alec Pierce, because we know when he stretches the ball down the field, very few, if any, corners or DBs can stop him. He's just that good on that deep ball. And also, he's starting to round himself out as just more of a complete wide receiver. I mean, his route tree is definitely improved in the last couple of years. So all that to say, man, there are some players that are going to have to step up in these two guys' absence, at least for a couple weeks. And we'll see. We have confidence that they have the players to do it. We'll just see if they can weather the storm until these two players come back and two guys that are critical to what you do on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, absolutely. And you saw it on Sunday too. Adonai Mitchell having that, had a couple targets in that game. Now he never ended up getting catches, but the one target he did have late in the game where he was, going on a deep route for the end zone and ended up getting pass interference called against Daryl Baker Jr. because of that. Again, that's just an extension of what Alec Pierce is a lot of times used for, right? Like Alec Pierce, if he doesn't catch it, a lot of times there's going to be pass interference called against it. So, that's kind of been helpful to see Adonai Mitchell there. But you're right. Like, again, if Alec Pierce is going to miss just a tiny bit of time, it is what it is. You have a couple weapons there to be able to take advantage still. And, all things are going to be fine. I mean, again, it sucks having the injuries, guys, but this is the reality of the situation of the NFL. Guys are going to get hurt a lot, and no team is unaffected. Some teams are affected more than others. I don't know if there's a cornerback room that has been more affected than the Indianapolis Colts this year again. It seems like 2 years in a row that this unit just cannot ever stay healthy. From top to bottom ever. But, again, it could be a lot worse situation right now. So just everybody just relax. It's good to know that we're not going to be missing these guys for a significant amount of time. Things are going to be okay for the Indianapolis Colts moving forward. But that's going to do it for this one, guys. This is just a quick update for you. Let us know your thoughts on this. Thank you guys so much. And as always, go Colts.